Jump cuts with bad continuity is great for first
Should we
run.
trade jackets?
You guys should just trade places.
Hi, I'm Alex Siegel.
I'm Emily Alexander.
And I'm Nolan Adams. Welcome to Rail Talk, the post-race show where we talk about the evening's results and what to expect next week.
Last Saturday, we had the International Omnium for all categories. So we had spicy newcomer in the women's open field. We had a up-and-coming junior. Well, we've known about him for a while, but kind of made his mark on the season so far. And in the Cat 3s, I think we saw some real dominance, Cat 3 men. I think pretty simple narrative. Tory Park dominated, I think, won every race or very close to it. Just kind of rode off the front, took points at every opportunity, and the battle was for the remaining positions.
Really put the field on notice.
That's a great way to put it. Hear that, field?
You're on notice.
They noticed.
Notice.
Spoiler alert, they noticed. A really impressive points race from Eric, though. Like, he had a lot of ground to make up, had to win, I believe, every one of the last 2 or 3 sprints, and did that. The field was absolutely shattered. I think interesting thing that we saw all the way back to preseason also is early breaks in the points races. Folks will get away. We saw some bridging up to that break, and that was kind of the race right there. So I'll be curious to see if we see a lot more of that this season.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't want to jump the gun here, but that is something I want to talk about later in this episode of what I expect out of the season. But as somebody who was not participating in that points race, not because I got popped, but I would have, but I just wasn't racing that race. Watching from the sidelines, beer garden. Exciting race, hugely exciting race, and watching Merrick go toe-to-toe with roadie extraordinaire Ericsson, that was impressive and just really fun from a spectator perspective. And they were just an entire league above everyone else. Not super shocking given what I think we kind of could expect after last year from Merrick. I mean, he's grown in maturity, strength, watts, height, all the things.
More height.
A lot more height. But also, Galen Erickson was also quite strong last year. He doesn't show up a ton, but when he does, he makes his presence known. And but last week was really exciting, and I hope to see more of that sort of dynamic racing out of the 1-2 field. Let's talk about the 1-2 field. Men's tonight. Hard, difficult, dynamic. Similar to Saturday in a weird way. I think there was a lot of stuff off the front, a lot of attacking to try to bridge. I think there was no shelter. There was no simple pace line, pulling stuff back. It was just pure madness.
Louis not being here definitely makes a much more open field. We had, he was the lizard man, basically unstoppable last year. This year, a lot more openness. I think we saw that.
Yeah, I think that I was a little excited about this year to not have Bowie here, not because I don't like the man. He's a tremendous human, but I think that there would have been more opportunities for some people. And then Merrick just sort of slid right into that zone, and we're on a back foot again. Like the rest of the field is playing catch up on somebody with absolutely stellar fitness and good tactics, and that's a really tough position to be in. But it's so far led to really dynamic racing. Bowie, what's up? Miss you, bud.
But I do think, though, even though Merrick put the men's field on notice last 2 weeks ago, this week the field really made Merrick have to work for it and put him into some interesting difficulty.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that because he has already shown off his talent and his fitness, and the field knows about it, it will lead to new dynamics over the next couple of weeks, especially as some other folks ramp into fitness, and he himself is probably still ramping junior nats this year, obviously hosting here, and so he's got some big goals, and it will be really fun to see.
The 1-2 field, and I think those of us who've been working with him over the winter, We do maybe have an heir apparent. We've actually nicknamed him at Waterlight Racing the Gecko because he is a baby lizard, and that's Wyatt Paul, who came out with an Omnium win in his second night in the 1-2. So I think a rider to watch definitely for the rest of the season. Can do a lot. Clearly got a big sprint and has the endurance to stick around and be hard to get rid of.
Tonight I watched him climb to the top step of the podium. If that's anything to
Shake stick it.
rattle a cog. I don't know. We'll find some fun tonight. But
Belgian winning out. It's a fun kind of unique race where you're first racing for fourth after 3 laps, and then it goes another sprint for third, second, and then the final sprint determines first, and then everyone else is fifth and downward. So kind of a bit of a gamble if you're going to go early or stay and try to go for the win. I think we saw. I will promote myself a decisive 4th place. I was very excited about that. Thrilled to be off the podium. And Mario made a big move to take third, and Andy Baker a very, very impressive second place, which really left an interesting dynamic because you have only a few of the top racers and the fastest guys there for the final sprint. So I think Merrick maybe thought he had it in the bag, but got pipped at the line. So exciting to see.
The women's Belgian win out was also very interesting. There was a lot of big movements for getting that first and fourth place out of the way. You could tell a lot of people wanted to just kind of make their race night short. And so Lucy Gilchrist, though, was the one that really powered through, got a decent amount of separation. And then after that, there was just a lot of little splits in the women's field that kind of determined the rest of the race. I think the biggest decisive moment was really the sprint for third. Annie, Annette, and Tori, there was a 3-up sprint that everyone was going for, and Danny was able to pick that up and make her exit. And after that, with, again, those continued separations, for finishing out the race for second, you had Catherine Wade-Easley, who was able to create just a nice little rolling gap that the field really didn't respond to. And right into that final sprint, Annette and Tori got on her wheel, but obviously didn't want second. They wanted first. And so they came through, kept powering through and working together. And then that final sprint, you could tell Tori tried to put herself in the best position, ended up sprinting from the front, which with Annette, I mean, you really can't do. If she's on your wheel, or even honestly within 4 or 5 feet, she's gonna get you. And she did. In that last one, was able to take Tori at the line. So again, Annette really just showing her mastery of.
What the heck is a French exit?
I was trying to figure that out the entire race. Alex, did you sort it out by the time we finished?
Well, he finished sooner, so he may have had more time to figure it out.
I had a lot of time to force it out because I availed myself of the French exit. So basically, it is it is a points race where the first sprint is worth an outsized amount of points, depending on the length, which is deliberately chosen to make the rest of it sort of uncertain. It kind of creates another gamble. And if you win that first sprint, you get a larger number of points. So in the case of the men's 1-2 field, it was 20 points instead of 5. In the women's and Cat 3 field, I believe it was 20 points each. But then you have to leave the track. And you also can choose to leave the track and take your points with you no matter where you are. So you can be on 0 points, you can be on 3, 2, or 1 points, and decide that you are done with that race. And you hope that your points are enough to last the rest of the way. So that's the format. I will say in the men's 1-2 race, I think we were all caught by surprise. Brilliant move by Nick Martinez, just from the gun, cracked it right off the whistle, the neutral lap, and was not to be seen again. Earned his 20 points, and while he did have a shorter race, I don't know that he had an easier race than the rest of us. That was immense. Good move to him. I will say we also saw a bit of a wrinkle in the women's French exit, where there was no exit.
Yes, that's right.
Ooh, that is right. Tori did clean up that first sprint, but then chose to stay in, which I believe she finished second behind Annette. I think that Annette cleaned up. I shouldn't say cleaned up. I think she was probably taxed. But yeah, the final couple of sprints, I think she pipped Tori. There was a bunch off the front. Don't remember the makeup of it, but Tori needed a couple more points. It was tight at the end, but I think Annette got it. So.
Okay, definitely. It came down to the very last sprint, which another part of the French exit. That while it is a points race, in the French exit, the very last sprint is not worth double, so it doesn't break the points differentials up that much. So it does become very important to win every single sprint. And so Annette was able to take that last one and just carry it with a couple of points. The French exit, for those who again are unaware, which are probably many people, is a novelty race that was created by one of our own, Maddie Hers, a 1-2 Masters National Champion and World Champion. Maddie, we love you. We're excited to see you out here.
I'll say I love that race because it's a points race that I have something to fight for. Because a normal one, I'm 20 points down and then a DNF. So it's a good one to have something to go for early and then really try to mix it up. So props, man.
Well designed race. I like it. Even if I'm in the back, it's fine. It's dynamic.
Ride of the Year race. So longer scratch races, right? Scratch race, if you don't know, we can tell you here at Rail Talk, is a very simple race to the finish, first across the line wins. Should we start with the women's field?
Yeah, we can start with the women's field. So we actually had a larger women's field tonight, so there was 14 riders, and which on our track, 400 meters long, 14 riders is significant. It also just allows for a lot of rest to happen. So in the women's race, it was a very quiet affair for basically the first 3/4 or so, 2/3, 3/4. Right when we started to get to about 5-6 laps to go, started to see that usual kind of jockeying for position, people starting to count where they were, and also then trying to mark the wheels that they really wanted to mark. So you saw Annette and Tori jockeying back and forth, not wanting to be in the front, also, but at the same time not wanting to be caught too far back in the field.
Final lap, Tori had, like you said, led from the front. At a high pace, I think you saw our same three riders that have been fastest in the field so far, Tori, Annette, and Danielle Scoville. And really, as they came out at corner 4, it basically went 3 wide. Danielle had the speed to come over the top and get the roll off the bank, and I think got it by about a bike length. I believe Annette was second, and Tori ended up third.
There you go.
Fascinating result, though, because what did that look like in terms of our overall Rider of the Year standing so far?
I now in our women's 1-2-3 Rider of the Year points. Yes.
How did I miss that?
So originally we were thinking it would really come down to Tori and Annette being tied, but then with Danny winning the scratch race at the end of the night, it bumped her points level up to then being a 3-way tie. So we now have 3 riders who can potentially wear the jersey, and I think Amara has designs on having all 3 wearing the jersey.
Yeah, so panel, should all 3 or should none?
I say all 3.
I think all 3. I like it. I just like a little bit of chaos. Also, I mean, there's no teams anyway.
I think that all 3 should.
Yeah, what happened in the men's race?
It was very fast. And I do not really know.
No, I also hold on.
You finished with the field. You finished with the field.
I
did not.
I'm aware, thank you. I finished.
You did.
1 lap down.
Oh,
You did.
I know what happened.
Plus, we had a couple extra laps in there, so I think I basically was on the lead lap. If I rode at least 25.
It's true. You might have.
At some point in the first few laps, Chris Wilson, Mr. G, Scott Grinsell, and Carl Cunningham went up the road. There was a little bit of a breakaway, group of 3, strong riders, all of them. And they stayed off the front for the majority of the race. And the field, they were off the front, I want to say for 20 laps, 19 laps, something like that.
One time, yeah.
And yeah, a considerable amount of the race. I somehow found myself on Merrick's wheel when he sent an attack and he went all the way up to the lead group. I think they were maybe 100-ish meters off the front at that point. And then I was like, whew, we made it. The field was behind me, I think. I didn't really have a chance to look. But then Merrick just went around. I think he created separation from the break, and then everyone sat up for a sec. But then I do believe it all came back together for a final sprint. Couldn't tell you who won. Couldn't tell you, way back.
I found out after the fact. Actually, it didn't come
Who
together.
won,
for
Alex?
Well, Sam Frigo won.
What?
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that with such surprise. That dude's fast as hell, and I didn't see him doing any work.
A group came back together with about 2 laps to go. He just kind of rolled through as everyone went up track, and I think got off with Chris Wilson for a bit, and then he just kept pulling. And just that moment's hesitation in the lead group, maybe folks were looking to Merrick to chase. So Sam had a bit of a lead, and then we got a pretty exciting final sprint between our very own Andy Baker and Wyatt Paul again. So strong podium with I think Wyatt taking second. He's not on camera. We don't know who that is.
The producer.
The producer. Señor El Jefe, El Presidente.
That's a lot of words.
To be fair, Wyatt led from 500 meters, and at no point did I threaten him.
Oh, okay.
But I stayed on his wheel when he jumped, and I took that as a win.
Second time as the leading group was coming through, and when I look back, I could see it was pretty shattered. Those first few riders across the line had big gaps between them. I think you could see the toll that the race took.
Big gaps, but even bigger hearts. It really just kept up with it. That's good for them. I think this season is going to be an interesting mixture of more speed, and lots of pain. The first 2 race nights we've had so far this season have been significantly more dynamic than last year, to my memory, and my money is that will continue, and that Merrick will slaughter us.
I think the theme of this year really is the new generation. It is the next generation. We have a lot of youth, a lot of young riders that are out here.
I think it's going to be a year of lots of winners, really wide open fields. I mean, I think the fact that you see 3 women wearing the Rider of the Year jersey, I think very open field, lots of competition. I think we've already seen the men's Rider of the Year jersey change hands, so Sam Frigo does have that now. Took it from Merrick, so we're going to see constant battles, and a lot of different people animating races, lighting up the races. So I think it's going to be really exciting to see. I'm going to actually take a second theme of the year, which is maybe the return of the breakaway. We've just had a lot of years where it's been super fast, lined out, and to a big final sprint. But I think the breakaway is showing itself to be a real tactic this year.
Notably, it's Wyatt.
Super fast, quick learner. I think we're going to see a lot out of him. But coming up in the 3s, I think pretty clear that Quinn Kennedy is a standout rider in that field.
Unbelievably strong.
They are flying. Newman, I don't know where he ended up in terms of overall points today, but super strong, savvy racer, clever kid.
His ability to attack again and again and again tonight. I watched that last race. I've not seen anything like that in quite some time. I mean, if that's harder to do at the next level, but I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 or 3 more race nights he got his upgrade.
Yeah, Joshua Sherfy, thank you. Really strong riding. I think earlier in their upgrade path and journey, but has the legs, has the speed to get moving pretty quickly.
What's coming up? Nolan's favorite long points races.
Are they? Did I say that?
I thought so.
Oh,
I think you were just whispering that to me.
Sure was, Emily.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I have any chance of playing a part at the front end of the field for a couple more weeks. But next week I'm gonna have a really good time boosting my fitness in that long points race you're talking about. Can't wait for that.
Missing out's always a fantastic race. I will say, throwback, little shout out to Dave Chipchase, who had an awesome ride in the IO elimination. So it'd be a very similar race last Saturday. I think elimination is great. Missing out's great for surprises and always interesting results in that. So fun race to watch. The others, I'm going to be suffering like a dog.
Oh, and
First kitty kilo of the year.
Best race of the year.
all right, and out. Nice work, team. How
That
cold
was
are you?
long.
That was long. Well, we had two races to get through.